The true measure of a man is not their successes, but rather how they overcome their challenges. Have you ever watched a movie and the main character just succeeded the entire time and never faced a challenge? That wouldn't be very entertaining. But these two brothers are going to face some challenges for sure. They're going to face some challenges because, well, they're homicidal, cannibalistic, psychopath, maniac Neanderthals that just like to bash everything that comes near them. That's probably why they were kicked out of their previous tribe. I mean, not everyone's cool with eating people and killing everything in sight. It can be a useful trait for your group, but they were banished to the boreal forest because of their actions. And they've established a new colony. And they call themselves the Bonk Bros because, well, it's time to bonk. I know. What are we doing? What are we doing? We're killing wolves, that's what we're doing. We're hitting them with clubs, we're running around killing stuff. That's what this episode is. So, these two guys, like I mentioned, are both Neanderthals. So they're tough, naturally. They also both have the tough trait. They're both ascetic, they're both psychopathic. And, well, they're both cannibalistic. So, they found this cave to live in, and they're gonna live here until someone can stop them from living here. We're playing on wealth independent mode, meaning that the threats will just scale over time no matter how much money they have. So the goal will be to see how far these two bros can get with melee only. No traps, no guns, they're not going to use any animals to help them, and they're not going to take on any other new colonists. And their first victim is approaching, their first raid. So it's a pig. And they're going to employ this tactic that they learned from Sun Tzu, which is surprise them by waiting behind a rock and then bash them with your clubs. And it's actually very effective, especially when the two of them are ganging up on someone. Sometimes people will actually ask the brothers for help. Like, hey guys, can you help me? I'll work for you and stay with you. And sometimes they're happy to oblige. This guy asked to join the colony because there's 3 man-hunting foxes chasing him. So the brothers are like, yeah, sure, dude, take this gun. Go out there and fight the foxes. What's the worst that can go wrong? I mean, it's a machine gun. It should be able to kill them, right? And they have no intention on helping him because they want to eat him. So they let the foxes just kind of take him out initially, and then they go play cleanup. It's not hard to kill a fox with a club, especially when you're a giant caveman. So once they're done killing a couple foxes, they decide to bash this guy's head in, Santa. And then all is right in the world. Now not only do they have some fox meat, they have some human meat. They want to build some walls too, because the walls actually help when the raiders come. Not in the sense of, you know, setting traps or anything like that, but the raiders tend to like to light the walls on fire. So as they're lighting the walls on fire, they kind of spread out, and then the bros can go out there and bash them in the head one by one. Because if our raiders all stack up on them together, it's going to be much more difficult. But if they're distracted by the walls, then that's good. And winter's come now, so they can slaughter the cows that join them, and then they also have kind of a natural fridge because the boreal forest is cold 40 days out of the 60 days of the year, so all they have to do is kind of make a little room that's near the front, and then that'll stay cold. So 40 days out of the year, they don't even need power. They can just build their cave and then rely on the outside heat. Another person comes. His name's Ash. He needs help fighting off humans, which is more interesting than foxes. And, well, he's a naked old man and is trying to run into the cave because it's warm. And there's people chasing him. So it makes sense. I mean, who can blame him? There's 3 people chasing him. They also have clubs. One guy has a spear. Ash is going to come down here, and the bros have played this game before, so they're going to encourage him to fight them. Although this time they're saying, we'll help you out, because Ash was a little bit hesitant. He's like, dude, I'm not going to stand out there naked in the snow, unarmed, fighting these guys. And they're like, no, bro, just hide behind this tree, and you'll be a distraction for us. Bait, if you will. And then once they come down here, around this corner, we'll hit them in the head with our clubs. Although while they're doing that, 4 more people show up, so now the brothers got to deal with 7 people, because 3 came chasing Ash from a different group. It is much easier, though, if they're all not in the same group, because then they don't work together and may be more likely to flee. Once that was complete, killing that first guy, they decide it's time to just execute Ash, because he was being annoying. Plus, he was naked, and we got tired of looking at him being all naked. This guy comes in here thinking, yeah, I'll just go and knight this wall, raid this village, get my loot. It's got to be disheartening to come around the corner and see the Bonk Bros waiting for you. I imagine that would be pretty scary. But yeah, like I said, they spread out to light fires, so the brothers can kind of focus on taking them out one by one. Although it didn't work great this time, they did actually come in all at once. Although even that first 2 seconds of having that 2-on-1 is enough. They killed that guy almost before the other people even got to him. So they make short work of these guys. And that guy actually drops 14 herbal medicine, which is huge. I didn't show it, but during the initial phase, my main focus was just growing medicine, because these guys need a lot of medicine, because all they're doing is getting hurt constantly and fighting people and fighting pigs. More pigs come. These 2 pigs are employing the same tactic as the other raiders. Randomly attack walls and then light stuff on fire. Although a rabid rabbit distracted this pig and separated this pig from the rest of the group, so they were able to kind of corner them. Although that pig's tough as hell, man. That thing took a bunch of hits. I think pigs are notorious for their toughness. They have thick skin. That's how you get bacon, right? And chicharrones and stuff. I don't know. I'm not a pig scientist. They're finally making some clothes, though. It took them forever to research complex clothing, because, well, they're kind of stupid. But they do have strong immunity, and that's lucky for Blue, because he has an infection. He's able to overcome that pretty quickly, though, and Turkey was getting pissed off looking at their surroundings, so he decided to put in some wood flooring. Kind of picky for some Neanderthals. You'd think they'd be fine just living in a cave, but no, they want the amenities of the humans now, because they've tasted luxury. These 7 people come down to say hi. The wealth scaling is definitely different. If this was a normal game, this would be 1 or 2 people attacking them, not 7. I also not only put it on wealth independent mode, but also set it so that it reaches max raid strength after 6 years. So after the first year, you're getting, you know, pretty significant raids, especially for 2 dudes to handle. So they're gonna have to fight off these 7 people. 5 of them go up top. There's a 5th one up there. And then 2 go down south, so they decide smartly. You know, I know they're cavemen. They live kind of in a soggy, swamp-infested cave in the middle of the forest, but they can add, and they know that 2 is less than 5. And they also know that this guy has a bow and arrow, and he's about to get hit in the head with a club. They can make short work of any humans, for sure. And if I was a human and I saw these 2, I would not be trying to fight them one-on-one. Or even 2-on-1 or 3-on-1. Some scary dudes. They're also wearing human leather. They're wearing human leather parka, human leather pants, and shirts. So it does add to their toughness a little bit. When they're wearing leather clothes, it acts as a little bit of armor. But they kind of just take a stand in this doorway. This singular wall is not super ideal for spreading out the raiders. Later on, they build some more complicated walls to try to distract them a little bit better, but they handle this just fine and kill everyone. The brothers aren't surprised. They do have to bandage each other every once in a while, though. Funnily enough, there's a deer inside our kitchen because they busted down our door. They're also not afraid to attack any animal that comes near them, including grizzly bears. And surprisingly, actually make short work of the grizzly bear. That pig was tougher than the grizzly bear. You can see the wall construction now, solely to throw off the raiders so that when they come in, they hopefully will get confused and start burning those outside walls because we can't use traps. So that way we can sneak up on them and bash them in the head. These guys are actually Neanderthals. One of them's walking slowly because that person's frail and has a bad back, so that's good. There is 8 of them, and this is actually their former Neanderthal tribe. This is the tribe that kicked them out and said, "You guys are too crazy, go live in the cave." Well, they brought 8 of them to come try to get revenge, burn their place down and kill them both. Unfortunately for this guy, though, he separates from the rest of the group, and Blue and Turkey are able to meet him out in the open in order to fight him. They need to hurry up, though, because the other people can hear his screams of despair and help as he's getting his head bashed in. And 2 guys with knives come over. I think knives are better than the clubs, at least for the sake of the brothers, because while it may cause the stabbies, it doesn't cause the sleepy time. So they can at least deal with getting stabbed a few times and then bandage themselves and not get knocked out. This is the guy with the bad back, and they immediately just kill that person. This other dude runs down, though, and is trying to break into their house, which they don't like because they don't want to have to rebuild the door again. So they start bashing the hell out of him. Interestingly, this happens. Yeah, his head falls off. It almost looks like they bashed his head in and it turned into ambrosia, but that was just him dropping his gear. Now they're pretty messed up, though, because they just had to fight off 8 people and they have a lot of stab wounds. So they decide to eat some raw human meat and rest in their little meat sacks. They take turns bandaging each other, and there's just blood and dirt everywhere. Blue has gotten a minor infection, which is okay because he is super immune and they will be able to handle that. One issue they're having now, though, is that Neanderthal bashed their door in, so all these animals are raiding their kitchen. There's like 3 squirrels in there, 2 rats, another pig, and a rabbit just ran in there. There was also 2 pigs in there before. This wolf's killing something down here. It's like National Geographic out here right now. This raid's gonna prove challenging, though, because now there's 7 pigs, and they all have guns and Molotov cocktails. The boys are also not at full capacity right now. They're struggling a little bit. So they decide to take on and smoke some of this flake to give them a little boost so that they can fight this battle because they're both injured. Although smoking this flake will turn out to be quite the deal with the devil. They both immediately become addicted, which is not an issue right now, but that's kind of the thing with doing drugs, is that you pay for the consequences later, kids. Immediately it might feel good, but long term you might end up naked in the desert in your underwear, wearing a gas mask, driving an RV around. They do catch the 2 guys with the Molotovs out past the wall there, and they don't even get to throw their Molotovs because they get on them so quickly. This guy just has a knife, so they're able to kill 3 of them. And luckily another guy with the Molotov comes up. No guns came up. The rest are all down south, just burning the random walls. So the randomness of the walls definitely paid off, because they don't really know what to do. They just kind of attack whatever. So taking advantage of the AI a little bit. We are trying to buy drugs off the traders. However, they have none. So we are going to just sit in our cave and chip away at the wall, dreaming about Flake because we have a minus 35 mood debuff. And they're not even interested in capturing people that have fallen from the sky because they're so upset that they have no drugs. But these traders come, actually just in the nick of time, right when another raid is coming. Which is actually pretty lucky because this raid's pretty big and our people are pretty pissed off because they have no drugs. I'm trying to actually grow some psychite leaf, but you can see that it's still snowing. Even though it's springtime, there's still snow on the ground, so growing anything right now is going to be difficult. And even if we did start growing right now, it's going to take us another 15 or so days to actually get the psychite. And in the meantime, Blue goes into a daze because that addiction is brutal, critical, and is kind of all-powering. I don't know if you guys have ever known anyone that's hardcore addicted to something. Man, it kind of rules their life. So Blue has no way to release his angst and get more psychite at the moment. So all I do is set up a zone to try to stop him from going into his bedroom because it's full of bugs. But he just wanders in there anyways. I should have had Turkey watching him closer, and then I could have had Turkey just bash him over the head with his club. And then that would have maybe stopped him from going in the room. But unfortunately, the bugs ate him, and Turkey goes in to avenge his brother because he ain't scared of no bugs. And he throws down pretty well, actually. I mean, the amount of damage he takes, and he actually gets one of the bugs down, is pretty impressive. Turkey's definitely trying to fight to save his brother. Blue actually manages to crawl out into the kitchen and pass out. And the two bros kind of pass out next to each other. The man in black comes. He comes to save these two Neanderthal brothers. I don't think this was the right colony that you want to try to save, dude. This thing is not going well, and these two bros have reached their limit, I think, of the amount of people that they're going to be able to bonk on this run. I'd say in hindsight, probably not doing any drugs would be good. Or at least not Flake, because it's so addictive. Or if I am doing Flake, then to have some in reserve, at least something in reserve, or some psychite growing. None of the raiders that came in after they smoked that Flake had any drugs on them, which is weird. Normally the pigs do have drugs on them. So, also very unfortunate. I think, too, if they were able to research plate armor and smithing, they may have done better. But that's the story of Blue and Turkey and the Bonk Bros. So if you like this video, stay tuned, because we got a new colony coming up. A prison colony.